with 4 different teams. Oh, and he's got a man down the field, lunging out for it. Come on! Wolotarski lays out and hauls it in. Give it to him. What a catch!
That was the only question. Was he going to be able to reel this one in, because the ball was thrown on a line to Wolotarski in the middle of the zone defense. Zach Collaros sees him, little double move here, and he gets him. He gets Blaze Brown. What a catch. 30-yard gain. And the Bombers in position to make it a 2-possession game now. What a catch.
What a move to open himself up as well, and he does a good job hanging on to that one. He's fired up.
Interception gave the Tiger Cats life. They just all seem to...
It's right in the song.
Collaros downfield looking for Lawler. He's got it! Oh, baby! Kenny Lawler hauls it in. Touchdown, Winnipeg, as they pile it on in the Banjo Bowl.
Well, why not go for an encore? In front of your home crowd. Sold out IG Field. Good solid lead with 3 minutes to go. And Kenny Lawler says, we'll come back on stage for one more encore. And a pretty catch for 6.
Quick pass this time to Burnham, a little behind him, but he's able to stop, change direction, and get into the end zone. Brian Burnham with another touchdown.
Levi Mitchell's just going to salt this one away. Maybe throw some more. Why not? I believe this as he goes deep. And it's caught. Touchdown. Are you kidding me? Kamard Jordan.
What is up, my friends from Canada and the United States of America? This is Mark Perry, editor of CFL News Hub, and welcome to another episode of the CFL News Hub show, a weekly recap of the Canadian Football League. Played some highlight from last 2 weeks ago, and then, I screwed up. I thought I switched it. So we got the highlights in the beginning. We got the Banjo Bowl. Everything that happened, those were highlights from this past week. Week 6 in the CFL season is wrapped up. Now we get into week 7. And this is our 10th show. Our 10th show. That's so nice. Getting ready for you for week 7. We run through my picks, fantasy, latest news, injuries, TV ratings, and more. Plus, of course, your social media stuff. And remember to, if subscribe and smash the like button, spread the word, help spread the word about the CFL. And if you like football, then subscribe to our channel. If you want to be part of the show, remember, email podcast at CFL News Hub with your MP3s or videos. And if you'd like to just listen to this show via podcast, you got us on Audible, Player FM, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and of course, Apple Podcasts as well. The main guy there. You can get them there. And remember, be part of our contest. We got people subscribing all the time on the YouTube channel. We appreciate all the new subscribers. Remember, if you want to win a CFL hoodie of your choice, we are going to give away that at the end of the month in October. All you have to do is either subscribe to our YouTube channel or leave us a nice little review on Apple iTunes. We'll read it on the show. We appreciate you guys. Help us grow the channel, which helps spread the word about the CFL. So if you like the CFL, then hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Now, this week has been a weird week, because we had NFL games. So we had CFL games, followed, and then NFL games, college football. So now you've got your gamut. If you're a football fan, high school, CFL, college, NFL, it's all here. We had the NFL games, and one of the things I had said this last week, I think, that, and then now watching the NFL games too, it's kind of like the CFL is like pace, 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 pace. The XFL was like that too. NFL was kind of slow, set up, run a play, walk around, set up, run a play. And it was weird to just try to get used to those rules to watch the CFL and then turn around and watch NFL. But I watched all the NFL games, including my Baltimore Ravens. You don't even see I've got Ravens stuff around here. Lose as well. They did not play very well. Hamilton Tiger Cats have an injury. We'll get into that. They're looking like better, but I'm a little concerned. But we'll get into all that. Plus, I had my picks and my fantasy picks, and I'll tell you something right off the bat about my fantasy picks. I told you guys to play Michael Riley, and I was correct in that assessment. He had a Q, questionable, and I was like, dude, you've already had a week off. You should be ready to rock and roll. I'm worried about it. And then I was worried that I wasn't going to be around to make the change and to find out, too late and then totally get screwed. So I switched him out. And we'll get into why that is a problem later on in the show. So remember, give us a subscribe to our channel and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it on the show. Plus, those will get you into win a CFL hoodie from your friends at CFL News Hub. So, and thoughts and prayers out to in the United States. SpaceX is flying up with 4 civilians. Hopefully that's going all well. I'm going to hop in and watch all that coverage. I'm a big space nerd, and I'm a big fan of Elon. So I'm excited to see that. So thoughts and prayers to everybody in the crew. Hopefully they get up safe and we're good there. So without further ado, friends, let's just get into some CFL, the weekend CFL and CFL news, shall we? I knew this was not a good sign, especially when Dane Evans was like holding his side and basically in tears. I was like, oh man. Ticats QB Dane Evans out 4 to 6 weeks with an injury, just as the Tiger Cats will finally starting to gain some momentum. The team hit a roadblock during the 17-16 loss to the Argos on Friday. Quarterback Dane Evans left the game in the fourth quarter due to an injury. A recent MRI didn't look good, although the severity of the injury is still unknown. Hamilton announced that Evans will miss 4 to 6 weeks while recovering. In 4 games played this season, Evans threw for 644 and 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Clearly, the team looked better under his helm than Jeremiah Mazzoli. Tiger Cats' next game is on September 17th against the Calgary Stampeders. Speaking of somebody coming back from injury, quarterbacks Jeremiah Mazzoli and Dave Watford, which he didn't do anything, will be active for the matchup, and a starter should be named within the next few days. Mazzoli was the starter early in the season, was benched due to poor performance, but he was also kind of injured. Watford, a member of the Tiger Cats since 2019, only has 242 career passing yards in the CFL. However, he also has 6 rushing touchdowns. As for the other Tiger Cats injuries, wide receiver Brandon Banks will hopefully return to the lineup after being ruled out of the Argos game. Tim Twite, who's currently in his first CFL season, has been Hamilton's top option at receiver position so far. White spent some time with 3 NFL teams. Ravens, Jets, Saints, is on track to be the wide receiver 1. Brandon Banks, for whatever reason in fantasy, is still very expensive, and I will not touch him with a 10-foot pole. And now Dane Evans is out. It's just the season that was to be the Ticats being the cream of the crop is certainly not looking the case right now. Alouettes head coach Kari Jones tested you know what. I don't want to say it. Alouettes announced Tuesday that their head coach, Kari Jones, has you know what, and will be in isolation from the team for a minimum of 10 days, after which his situation will be reevaluated. Could they Zoom him in during, like, games or something? Just do a Zoom call and yell at people and stuff? Since receiving his diagnosis, Jones has remained in isolation at home, feeling well. He is asymptomatic, remains constant contact. Jones received the diagnosis late Sunday, following tests that the entire team passed on Saturday. He followed all the social distance deals and received both his jabs in the past month. During his absence, assistant head coach and running back coach Andre Baldock will coach the team Saturday, September 18th against the BC Lions. Jones will work virtually with other members of the Alouette staff. Following the news, players and personnel were all tested once more on Monday, and no other, what's happened. So we will see. I haven't heard anything. Today's Wednesday. There's been no, more players have had issues. I'll just tell you right now that at least here in Maryland, where I live, it was quiet. And I would say in the last week, just a lot of friends and people that, you're friends with on social media, starting to come around saying that they're, fine because they got the jab, but are getting it again. It's starting to spread even in here in Maryland. So stay safe out there, my friends. Stay safe. Riders Argos make some signings this week, some player signings. First, the Toronto Argonauts signed Cole McDonald. Cole has been signed by the Argos and played his ball at Tennessee Titans, and it was 2020. He was an official NFL draft pick in the 7th round, subsequently played for the Cardinals in Tennessee. 24-year-old plays college ball at Hawaii. We always like Hawaii players. He was waived by the Cardinals on the 27th of May this year. Comes right at the stage of career needs to make an impression moving forward, and the Argos might be in luck with him. So we'll see how he does. That is, they signed Cole McDonald, quarterback. Saskatchewan signed the linebacker Michael Pinckney. Pinckney was signed by the Rough Riders. He apparently attended training camp this summer, and the team decided to sign him based on his performance. He's from the University of Miami. He started in 13 games with teams while playing his college ball. He was an NFL undrafted free agent with the Patriots in 2020 and on their practice roster. And, so those are some signings this week. We also had the BC Lions sign former NFL QB Danny Etling. They signed him to their practice squad. This comes after they announced the release of former NFL QB Shea Patterson. Patterson had played in the TSL and looked pretty good. He is a former 7th-round pick in 2018, taken by the Patriots, spent 2 years on the Patriots practice squad, earning a Super Bowl ring in the process. Following his release from New England, he signed to the Falcons practice squad. In Week 8, he would be called up to the active roster following a Matt Ryan injury. After the season, he spent time with the Seahawks and Vikings practice squad. He is out of Purdue, transferred to LSU, where he led them to a Citrus Bowl appearance. And there you have some player signings in the... Oh, there's more. That's right. Red Blacks start their bye week by signing Kenny Stafford and 5 others. So coming off their loss, their embarrassing loss, the Red Blacks decided to really take a look and bring in some free agent talent, which I think R.J. Harris is good. I feel like the Red Blacks have some good wide receivers. Biggest name in a long time, CFL vet Kenny Stafford, along with fellow receivers Terry Williams, Damon Sheehy Giuseppe, and running back Delance Turner, and long snapper Max Latour. Terrence Williams was a 3rd-round pick, 2013, for the Dallas Cowboys. Spent 5 years in Dallas. 3,377 receiving yards, 20 touchdowns. Played with the Battlehawks in the XFL and was in the Massachusetts Pirates of the IFL. Terry Williams was an All-American punt returner for Tennessee. Damon Sheehy Giuseppe was best known for lying to get his onto the Cleveland Browns practice squad and also returned a kick. He played a little bit in the XFL. He was there and wasn't. Played in the Spring League. Delance Turner went to Alcorn State. Rushed for a school record 1,357 yards and 10 touchdowns. Undrafted free agent, signed with the Ravens practice squad. And Kenny Stafford was first an Atlanta Falcon in 2012. Spent time on their practice squad before signing with the AFL's Pittsburgh Power 2013. During his AFL season, he signed with the Alouettes Dolphins before finally landing with the Stampeders. And from 2013 to 2021, he would bounce from Calgary to Montreal to the Elks. During his NFL career, he earned a Grey Cup in 2015, recorded 2,260 receiving yards, 164 catches, and 16 touchdowns. The Red Blacks will look to bounce back this bye week when they host the Hamilton Tiger Cats 2-3 in Week 8 on a Wednesday, September 22nd at 7:30 p.m. Also, some interesting player things. 10 players revealed from each of the CFL teams' negotiation list. This was from Evan Wilsmore, and we have the full list. So there's free agents, college player, XFL or alternate league player. We have the list here. So on September 9th, all 9 CFL teams revealed 10 players from their negotiation list. This list is made up of players that are in college, the NFL, and alternative leagues or free agency. If a player name is on a team's list, that means the team is interested in them. However, it doesn't mean they're guaranteed to get signed. Players can sit on a negotiation list for years before any type of deal is completed, and some will never appear on a CFL roster. The leading reason for the existence of the negotiation list has to do with salary cap, but most of the details remain within the league's circles. We don't know like tons of stuff, but you got some names out here. BC Lions have a bunch of quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks out actually. Calgary Stampeders. I mean, there's Keelan Doss, made a name for himself on. He's with the Falcons. He made a name for himself on Hard Knocks. So there's some names in here. Matt Barkley, you might know. Daquan Hampton, remember him. Brent Huntley for the Edmonton Elks. Tiger Cats. Some quarterbacks. Sean Pondexter. Or Jordan Ta'amu, you know him from the XFL. Bounced around in a bunch of NFL teams. Alouettes. Elijah Sullivan is a name that looks familiar. Sean Clifford, quarterback, Penn State. Ottawa Redblacks. Eric Dungy is a name out there. Deshaun Kaiser is another name out there. And some of these guys they already just signed that were on their list. Rough Riders. Tigray Scales played in the XFL. Argos. Cole McDonald, of course, quarterback, which they just brought in. Bo Scarborough is a name that I've seen out there as a running back. Blue Bombers. Not really guys there. Some notables on the list was Bryce Young for the BC Lions, quarterback. He is currently the starting quarterback at the University of Alabama, and so is like tons of football players in the NFL now. Arguably the best Division I football program. While Young is likely to make to the NFL, he's only a sophomore, and a lot could change before he declares for the draft. Jordan Ta'amu, of course, we talked about him. We knew him from the XFL. Deshaun Kaiser, Red Blacks. Kaiser was a second-round pick of the Cleveland Browns in 2017 after 3 years at Notre Dame. Started 15 games for the Browns during his rookie season, but did not win any of them. Also led the NFL in interception. Kaiser was traded to the Packers in 2018, becoming backup for Aaron Rodgers. Joined the Raiders in 2019 and was part of the Tennessee Titans practice squad in 2020. Kaiser's chances at making an NFL comeback are slim to none, and it would be surprised to maybe see him in the NFL or CFL. Damon Sheehy Giuseppe, we all know about his story. Shadir Sanders, Argonauts, had a few years of college ahead of him before his eligibility to go pro, but his name is still one to look at. He's the son of NFL Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, who is also Shadir's head coach at Jackson State University. So another interesting, and he's a quarterback. Deion Sanders' son is a quarterback. So some of the names are out there for you to check out on CFL News Hub and see if they're going to return. Some of these guys might be in the CFL, who knows, this year. So the Toronto Argonauts defensive coordinator, Glenn Young, essentially left the team. This is on the 13th, so things have changed. A little bit. So this is from our man Mike Mitchell. So Glenn Young is on leave as defensive coordinator. Basically, he's gone until further notice. And along with defensive backs coach Joshua Bell, veteran assistant Rich Stubler will call the defensive game plays for the Argos this week against Saskatchewan. That Young would retain his DC title while he is on leave from the team. Reports are that Young and Bell are away from the team because they have not followed MLSE's jab policy, which requires all employees to get the jab. Argos have not confirmed that, but both Bell and Young's absence is being characterized as of a personal nature. The shakeup of the Toronto staff comes after the team's defense held Hamilton to 16 points on Friday night, registering 4 sacks and a forced fumble. The Argos defense is currently first in the CFL against the run and fourth in pass yards allowed per game. several potential. Chris Jones is coming back. He was a former CFL head coach, and he did come back. He left his. That's the thing with this part of Chris Jones, because he informed the South Pittsburgh football team that he was resigning as head coach effective immediately. Said it was like, oh, this is a dream job, and now he's resigning as head coach of his alma mater, and he was, all blown up about it. However, you're just going to do this finish the season, and then what? Chris Jones, a 4-time Grey Cup winning coach who spent with the Boatmen as an assistant from 2012 to 2013. Last coach in the CFL with Saskatchewan in 2018. Jones was a Riders head coach and general manager from 2016 to 2018. 2018, the Riders went 12-6 under Jones' tutelage, leading him to garner Coach of the Year honors. Jones, who has a 53-37 head coaching record, led Edmonton to its first run as head coach in Canada to a Grey Cup championship in 2015. Jones was hired by the Cleveland Browns as a special assistant. He spent 1 season in Cleveland before the franchise overhauled the coaching staff. So now he is back in with the CFL, and he is back as as a coach. My only thing with Glenn Young was that, I understand. We don't know the reasoning behind these two guys wanting or not getting the jab or whatever their deal is. To be on leave, I don't think they're going to let you in the door next year without the jab. It's not like things are going to get any better. So I don't know what the deal is with that. And, it's a personal decision, and I get all that. But if you're not going to get the jab, bro, if you get sick, then you're not allowed to just go to the hospital. That's all. That's pretty simple. So I don't see why these guys would be brought back ever again, maybe on a different team. So I don't understand why Chris Jones would leave as head coach as a high school football team if he was going to be back next year. That's all. That's my whole thing with that. 13,000 tickets were already sold for the Hamburg Sea Devils and Frankfurt Galaxy championship game of the European League of Football. So if you're interested in that, we have the final championship game. We've been covering the European League of Football, the ELF, all season. Josh Davis and Matt Lyons were covering that. So that's pretty good news. Why we cover it, and actually a lot of people are interested in it. It's because these players might actually show up in an NFL or in a CFL team one day. Have you had a chance? If you should check our recaps, we cover it every week. So it seems like these teams are doing pretty well. If they're able to sell 13,000 tickets already for the Hamburg Sea Devils and Frankfurt Galaxy championship game for the European League of Football, this means that the final on September 26th at Merkel-Spiel Arena will be the new edition of the last World Bowl. Will be the new edition of the last World Bowl of the NFL Europe in 2007. So that is great news for the CFL, or I'm sorry, for the ELF, as they look like they've had a promising first season, which is good. All right, let's get to how about some CFL weekly TV ratings from our man Mike Mitchell. The CFL TV ratings are in for this past weekend's games on TSN. A week ago, the Canadian Football League's games on TSN during Labor Day weekend averaged 572,000 viewers, an increase of 27% compared to Week 5 of the 2019 season. For the CFL season, the CFL is averaging 535,000 viewers per game. Here are the numbers from the CFL's four games that aired on TSN. Friday's game, 362,000 viewers. Then the other game on September 11th, the 4 o'clock game, 551,000. Saskatchewan always does well. Stampeders Elks, 596,000 viewers for a Saturday night at 7 p.m. That did well. And the late game, BC Lions, Red Blacks, 358,000 viewers. In week 6, the average viewership was 466,000, down 18% from last week's 572 average. However, through the first 6 weeks of the season, CFL on TSN audiences are up 11% compared to 2019. CFL is also airing games on ESPN Plus and ESPN News, but because Nielsen Media Research no longer monitors ESPN News ratings, there's no official numbers made available by the network. Nielsen numbers only games on ESPN and ESPN2. That's why we can't get any ESPN games. What we did hear, though, was that the viewership on ESPN Plus is really low. And the games that were on ESPN2 were also low. So not really drawing well in the United States, but the games are doing pretty decent, pretty well, and holding strong, nothing too crazy in Canada. I'd be curious to see what the NFL's numbers are from week 1 in Canada. All right, our week 6 power rankings. The BC Lions move up the list. This is from our man, Matt Lyon. So number 1, and let us know what you think in the comments, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They were number 1 again. Saskatchewan Roughriders, number 2. Let's see if they could get off the schneid after losing 2 in a row to the Blue Bombers. That's a tough sell there. BC Lions moved up from 6 all the way to 3. They just dominated, but that's Ottawa. Come on. You can beat Ottawa. I'm sorry. Toronto Argonauts moved up. They were 7 last week, and they moved up to number 4. Hamilton Tiger Cats were at 3. They could have held that spot. They dropped down to number 5. A little worried about what the Tie Cats are doing. Alouettes, they were off last week. They dropped to 6. They were 5 last week. Stamps moved up. They were at 8, moved up to 7. The Elks were at 4. They did not look good, so they are all the way down to number 8. And, of course, Ottawa, even with Dominic Davis at quarterback, moved down to number 9. I think that list seems pretty fair. BC Lions, they're like a Jekyll and Hyde team. They're like really good, and then sometimes they're really terrible. CFL Week 6 top performers, and this just kind of kills me, man. Stephen Banks, Kamar Jordan, Michael Riley were named the top CFL top performers of the week for Week 6 of the 2021 season. Calgary salvaged a split in the Labor Day home series with a 32-16 victory in Edmonton. The Stampeders' strong defensive performance was led by Stephen Banks, who sacked Trevor Harris 3 times on Saturday. The trio of sacks resulted in 16 yards lost. Savannah State alumnus featured with a season-high 7 tackles and a fumble recovery. As the defensive unit, the Stampeders recorded 7 sacks in the contest. Through his first 4 games in the CFL, the 24-year-old Columbus, Ohio, was 14 tackles and 3 sacks. Kamar Jordan recorded a dozen catches in Calgary's win over Edmonton. 12 receptions set a new career high, resulting in 153 receiving yards and a touchdown. In the game's final moments, Bo Levi Mitchell connected with Jordan for a 50-yard major to extend their lead to 31-16. Those were in our highlights. Now in his 6th season in the CFL, the former Bowling Green State Falcon leads the league in receiving yards at 516 and receptions at 37. He has 3 touchdowns. And Michael Riley, I was going to pull him. I pulled him out of my fantasy thing, and I lost money. Riley threw 319 yards, 4 touchdown passes to lead the Lions to a 45-13 victory at BC Place. Riley completed 22 of 26 and added 27 rushing yards. Fans' Choice, Brandon Alexander won Week 5 of Fan Choice of the Week and collected 10 bonus points. There you have the top performers so far, but still leading the pack. Cody Fajardo, number 2, Michael Riley, and 3, Jonathan Woodward. But really, Jonathan Woodward was once. Was he only in there once? Those and Nick Arbuckle at number 4 on the list of the top performers this past week. Didn't have Jordan and didn't have Riley in any of my fantasy lineups. Here is the CFL schedule for this week. We got our picks in. Didn't do that great last week. Let me get my list out here. This week we have a Friday game, September 17th. We got a 7 p.m. Calgary at Hamilton. Hopefully Hamilton can come back. Jeremiah Mazzoli hopefully comes back as well. Then we have a Friday night game at 9:45, Toronto at Saskatchewan. Then we have Saturday, 7 p.m. game, BC at Montreal, and then another Saturday game, 9:45, Winnipeg at Edmonton. There are your Week 7 games. Last week's picks. I had Hamilton beating Toronto. That was not the case. Toronto won that one, 17-16. But if Dane Evans didn't get hurt, who knows what would have happened in that game. Saskatchewan, Winnipeg. I picked Winnipeg, 25-14. The final score, 9-33. So I got that one right. That's good. Calgary versus Edmonton. Edmonton are who we thought they were, and actually totally got that one wrong. Calgary destroyed them, 32-16. That was a loss there. And then BC Lions. I thought Ottawa would be, Ottawa is Ottawa, and I thought it would be a lot closer, but I got that one right. BC Lions as well. So split again this week. So 9, 10, 11. I am 11 and 12 on the season. So I'm still not 500 yet, but I'm split. And that's the thing, man. These Jekyll and Hyde teams. First, like Edmonton's starting to look like they're coming around, and you're like, all right, well, maybe Edmonton will do it, and Bo Levi Mitchell is coming back from injury. And then they just flip. And the same thing with Toronto and Hamilton. They're like, those 4 teams are essentially Jekyll and Hyde. And pretty much Saskatchewan just can do nothing. I think the Blue Bombers are just going to run away with it at this point. Saskatchewan would be maybe BC Lions has a shot now, but I don't think so. Let's go to this week's games. And the other thing, too, is trying to find like over and under and betting lines and all this stuff. It's hard to do in the CFL. I did some certain like searches, and I didn't find anything. Calgary versus Hamilton Tiger Cats. I got Calgary losing because I think Jeremiah Mazzoli will come back. 16-21. I think Tiger Cats come out of it. Remember, on the schedule, they're at Hamilton. Hopefully the team will come back. But again, Jekyll and Hyde from these two teams. Game 2, Toronto versus Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, after losing 2, is going to light them up. Toronto, I got Saskatchewan 32, Toronto 17. Game 3, BC Lions at Montreal. This is going to be a barn burner, baby. But I think Montreal will light them up. Montreal was looking good, but again, that was against Ottawa. I have 28-35 because I think BC plays well against bad teams, but when they play against a semi-decent team, they are kind of that Jekyll and Hyde. Game 4, Winnipeg at Edmonton. Yeah, Winnipeg, Edmonton, come on. You look great, and then you're just not even there. So I got winning this week. I got Hamilton beating Calgary, Saskatchewan beating Toronto, Montreal beating the BC Lions, and Winnipeg beating Edmonton. Again, the only one that I'm like, that could flip if Jeremiah Mazzoli is out would absolutely be that Calgary game. So keep an eye on that if Mazzoli is not in it. If Mazzoli's out and Brandon Banks is out, take Calgary all the way. If Brandon Banks is in, I'm still like, without Mazzoli and Banks, I'm a little worried about that game. So keep an eye on that one. And keep an eye out on Michael Riley, because it's like he plays a game and then he might sit. I don't know what his deal is with his elbow. And after playing a game and not being rested, he could stink it up. But he's got, I believe, BC Lions have the best receiving core in Well, maybe aside from Winnipeg, but still, I love the BC Lions receiving core. So we'll see how they do that. And we're still 500. Maybe we can finally be a 4-0 this week. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, let's get into our fantasy CFL news. So last week, so this was on my CFL fantasy, and you can sign up. Just go to our show notes, and you can sign up. Join us in the CFL fantasy stuff. I had, this is the lineup I made. Bo Levi Mitchell, 1 touchdown, 276 yards. Did okay. Sean Thomas Erlington, 11 points. Meh. But he did get a touchdown. DJ Foster, 15 points, a lot of receiving yards and a touchdown for a running back. That helped me out a lot. Greg Ellingson, a nothing burger, 5 points, 2 catches, 30 yards. Jalen Acklin, I thought was going to, but again, with Dane Evans going out, really kind of screwed me up. 5 catches for 48 yards. And Drew Wolotarski, thought he was going to have a big day. He only 3 catches for 23 yards. But the BC Lions defense got me 17 points. So I finished the day with 78 points. And for the season, let's see how I'm doing. Let's see here. On one of the leagues that I'm in, let's see the CFL writers, CFL News Hub writers. I'm 3rd overall right now. DFS Spreadsheets is number 1. Mike Mitchell is 2. And the MarkCast is number 4 on that list. I'm in 3rd. And then in the other league that I'm in, which is the Hamilton Tiger Cats League, I am, out of 200 members, or 400 members, I am 29th overall. Really? I thought I was terrible. Is that true? Wow. I'm not doing that bad. Nice. So out of 407 members, I am ranked 29th on the Hamilton Tiger Cats in fantasy. So that's pretty good. Don't you think? So what are we going to do about this week's team, my friends? What are we going to do? I'm going to save my bonus money for later. And I used my bonus money before. Vernon Adams Jr., BC Lions, you're going to pay $1,200 for him? I don't think so. Quarterbacks, Cody Fajardo was dealing with a head injury. Is he officially out? He exited with a head injury. We're not really sure what his status is. I would just say stay away from him. Trevor Harris against Winnipeg. I'm not playing against a guy against Winnipeg. Michael Riley against Montreal. I think this is going to be a big scoring game. Who else am I got? Bo Levi Mitchell, Jeremiah Mazzoli coming back from injury. I got nobody to put up against. I like Michael Riley, though. And I think this is going to be a big game. And Vernon Adams Jr. is just higher on the list. I'm putting Michael Riley in. I'm just a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about his health status for that game. So keep an eye on Jeremiah Mazzoli. Keep an eye on Cody Fajardo. I think Fajardo, I hate guys coming out, especially with a head injury. But he's not playing Winnipeg, so that's a good pick there. Andrew Harris, I finally picked him, spent money on him. That did nothing for me. John White has looked pretty good for Toronto. Actually, is he the Toronto's best guy right now? Game logs, 12 carries, 84 yards. So he's getting the carries, not a lot of receptions, but getting the fantasy points. And they're playing Saskatchewan, who's I think has got a good team. William Powell, Kadeem Carey has always been a guy that I've gone to all season long. He had 11 carries, only 4 fantasy points. But that was like his lowest output of the season. And they're going to play Hamilton. Hamilton's like Jekyll and Hyde. Staying away from Sean Thomas Erlington. And I don't like to do Shaq Cooper because I don't want to have Michael Riley and Shaq Cooper. His game log last week, 9 carries. I mean, he only had 4 points. So I think I'm going to probably go with John White as my running back there and to pay down on the list. I've been going. DJ Foster hasn't doing too bad for me as a low. Jackson Bennett. How did he? Oh, geez. No, stay away from him. I'm just looking for a guy that can get me anything. DJ Foster seems to be a guy who, I mean, 3 carries, but he's got 3 receptions. He's got a touchdown. I mean, he did go 10 carries for 100 yards, but only 3. He's not in there, but you really want to play low. Terry Williams, game log, I mean, 2 carries. Brady Oliveira not there. So, I mean, do you pay up for Shaq Cooper? He's got 9 carries. You're going to kind of have to. So we'll go with Shaq Cooper there. I'm not sure about Mike Riley. But if this is going to be a high-scoring game that I'm talking about, then it would kind of make sense. It's just paying a lot for running backs. Defense is going. I want to pay down for this. I'll take Hamilton against Calgary just to pay down for that. And then I got 3 players will all be wide receivers. But see, this is where I want to pay up for wide receivers. Kamar Jordan played great last week. He's not going to do great again. Do you do a double, triple stack where you get Mike Riley and bring in one of his guys? Brian Burnham has always been good. You pay up for him, but then you got no money left. That's the problem. I might have to get rid of Shaq Cooper and just go with somebody low. But see, even if you pay up for a guy like that, I got 3 spots and only $6,000 to put in. So you can't really even pay up for one of those big-time guys unless I just ditch Riley and move down. But who am I going to pick? Do you take a flyer on Nick Arbuckle or Zach Claros? I don't think so. So we got to stick with Riley. If I could, there's no way. You can't even do it. There's not enough. Unless I just punt running backs and just go super cheap on running backs. Oh, boy. All right, so, that's just no way. But if Riley is a stinker, then I don't know. Let's go back to what we did before. We'll go Shaq Cooper and John White. And then at running back, we just can't pay that high price for him. Let's get some guys. I don't even think I still have enough. Darvin Adams, has he started to break out yet? 3 catches. He finally got a touchdown. He's a guy that could potentially break out. Darvin Daniels. We're just looking for some kind of consistency. But you see 7 catches, 3 catches, great. Or 6 catches, then 2. That's just not consistency. Jalen Ackland, we had him last week. I mean, he's getting the looks. We'll throw him on there because he's got a decent price. Yeah, look, we do not have enough money to cover all these guys. I'm going to have to ditch John White and just go with a cheap running back, fortunately. Who can I get on the cheap for running back? I'll go with my guy, DJ Foster. He's getting me something. Now I have $10,000 and $5,000 to spend. So basically a $5,000 wide receiver. So somebody on the low end. Rasheed Bailey, has he done? Game logs. I mean, he's 4.44. I mean, he has the chance to break out. So he might be a guy. And then 6,500. Who can we get? 6,500. Tavion Smith. Edmonton. That's his game logs. Again, just a crapshoot. for this guy. Only one catch. How much is really he involved in the offense at this point? BJ Cunningham. He's got consistency. We'll take him. So there's your lineup. Not super excited about it, but just trying to get some decent wide receivers going here. Let's see. I have 6,300. 6,300. I'm not seeing anybody that's better. Now with that extra 300, could I move up and really get nobody? I mean, could I move up for Trevor Harris? Nope. Michael Riley, that's it. And it's unfortunate because I would love to throw a wide receiver on there from Edmonton, Winnipeg. Oh, I guess they're going. Oh, I guess it goes by game. I'm trying to see if is it possible that I got to have some BC Lion guy on there. Brian Burnham, of course, too expensive. I mean, because Lamar Durant is out, I believe, on injured reserve. Shaq Johnson, 3,400 game log. I mean, he had 5 receptions last game on his way back up. That's a guy we might take a low flyer on. And instead of Rasheed Bailey. And that gives us extra money to move up. Maybe a better wide receiver. Let's check out the money situation. $7,333. $7,300. Oh, I have $1. Oh, for Ricky Collins Jr. For Darvin Adams or Josh Huff. Now you're talking. Josh Huff, game log 5,664. Very kind of more on the consistent side, especially with Bo Levi Mitchell back. Darvin Adams is a guy who could potentially break out too. I think we'll go with Josh Huff. That still leaves me with 700 bucks left over. Can I move up? Making all sorts of. It's just trying to like shove this in here. 6,700 at wide receiver. Tavion Smith, Edmonton, game log. Nope, not feeling him. Wish I had enough for Darvin Adams. Tavion Smith, Darvin Adams. And we go back to BJ Cunningham. And use him, I guess. We still left 600 on the table. What we can do with that 600 on the table is then move up for a little bit and use the Alouettes defense, even though I'd rather get Calgary. I'm not interested in the Elks. Up for the defense. And then, so there you have it. Tough one to try to fit those wide receivers in. You're trying to find something, you know, but I really like Michael Riley. I mean, he's basically been in like the top player all season long. If you get the Mike Riley that's his elbow is fine. So you got Michael Riley, Shaq Cooper, DJ Foster, BJ Cunningham, Shaq Johnson, hopefully a good game from him, and Josh Huff and the Montreal Alouettes. Defense for your 29th overall rated fantasy CFL fantasy guy on the Hamilton Tiger Cats deal there. On to DraftKings. This was what killed me. I pulled out Zach Collaros. I pulled out Michael Riley, put in Zach Collaros, and I just got a bust across the whole season. Andrew Harris. I mean, look how many people drafted Andrew Harris. 54.5, and it only got us 9 points. Greg Ellingston. I mean, I spent $9,000 on him. Got me 5 more. 45% of the people picked him as well. He did nothing with 11 points. Ackland, 9. He got 9 points. Unger, I mean, look at that. 4,200 got me 7 points. Did better than Ellingson. And the Argos defense got me 7. So I was basically out of it. I mean, I was close in some, but still clearly out of it. So let's start a new lineup for this week, my friends. What are we saying in the chats? You guys agree with me or what? We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's see here. Let's set up. We'll go to leagues. So I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat room. We've got in the YouTube chat, Theodore. Frank is in there. What's up? Rich hanging out. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us in the chat. Oh, let me go to the lobby. Appreciate everybody hanging out on Facebook as well. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe on the YouTube, especially just give us a like because that spreads the word about the CFL. That's the biggest problem with the CFL. It's just people just don't realize it's there. The game is good. It's fun. You can do fantasy on it. You can do DFS. You can do your bet degenerate gambling stuff. But just people just don't know it's there. And that's kind of the problem that I'm seeing with the CFL. All right, so we're going to go to our double ups. That is always the safe bet to win your money. Let's do a $5 double up. And we got to think about what we're going to do for this week's games, my friends. It's a lot easier, to be honest with you, to do the Draftkings stuff, in my opinion, than it is to take care of business on the other side when it comes to doing the CFL fantasy. All right. Quarterback situation. I think BC Lions, Montreal is going to be a big shootout. I mean, look at how cheaper Michael Riley is on this one. I'll take Michael Riley all the way down there. Running back, not interested in Harris, not interested in Powell. Edmonton. Well, let's get our defense first. They got the Elks, Argos, Stampeders at the bottom. I think Calgary, the Stampeders will be interesting just because of what Hamilton might bring, and I'm concerned about that. I assume Jeremiah Masoli is going to start. I don't know what they're saying in the chat rooms. I know that hasn't been clear, but it seems like that's what's going to happen. We'll do our Shaq Cooper. I mean, he's only 7,000 down here. I like my guy Carey. I'll always go with Carey. I mean, yeah, if I can get Carey that low, I'll take him. Now, with everything else, I'm going wide receiver. Now, I got an average of 7,000. I mean, I would take Brian Burnham. I mean, how is Brandon Banks worth more than Brian Burnham? That's impossible. Ellingson, I'm staying away from him. Anybody playing Winnipeg, I pretty much don't want to have anything to do with. I'm just trying to see if we can. I mean, I like Lucky Whitehead is one of my guys too. His game log, I mean, he gets you 20 points. He gets you 12, 20. I mean, he's a guy. I like him. I think he'll have a good game. You can get him on the cheap. Ackland, we were talking about. Kamar Jordan, you can get him on the cheap just because now you got Bo Levi Mitchell back. So we got the Lucky Whitehead, Mike Riley combo, which will be a good one. Still have 7,000 left over. This is like Kenny Lawler Jr., Winnipeg. Can I get him? Look at his game logs. 5 catches, 2 catches, 6. He's a good one. Kenny Lawler. And then I got 8,000 to use on a good wide receiver. I can do John White, who's what's his numbers? The game log, Toronto. 12 catches. 12 attempts. He's running back. That's right. I'd rather take him at running back, to be honest with you. Well, no, because I'd rather get a good wide receiver. Who can we get? Lewis, Montreal. What's he done? Eugene Lewis, game logs. 5 catches. I mean, he totally blew up that 32 game. But that's with 2 touchdowns. And if I think it's going to be a big time game with a lot of scoring, Adams, his game, he's starting to come around. He would be somebody that I would get on the cheap. I mean, got more. He's been consistent. So Kieran Moore, take him. Got 500 left over. I mean, if anything, could I move up the running back position? Shaq Cooper. Even though I'm taking that in other places, I'll take Carey in there. I'll probably just take that extra money. Honestly, I really like this lineup a lot. I'll take the Tiger Cats defense. And there you go. Michael Riley, Kadeem Carey, Lucky Whitehead, going for that BC Lion connection. Kamar Jordan. Hopefully he can have another big game back-to-back. Usually you guys don't do that. Kenny Lawler Jr. with Winnipeg against Edmonton. And Kieran Moore with Saskatchewan. Hopefully Cody Fajardo plays. If Cody Fajardo is out, which is not looking like the case there, Fajardo is questionable. That hasn't been updated in a while, but I have a feeling he's going to be back. That's what we'll go with. And there is your lineup for DFS this week. Check it out. Hopefully you guys do well as me. We'll be back with your social media stuff right after this. Stay tuned, my friends.
Here's what you missed last week on the MarkCast. It's a shortened episode. I think it's probably a lot shorter than what we've been doing normally, but Reed's got a bunch of guests coming on to fill the show. And Reed, guess what? There's something that's not in the Google Doc at all. What is it?
We're previewing the Banjo Bowl this week. This is the first time ever in the history of the MarkCast we have had no XFL news to speak about. So I hate, I don't want to lead with bad news, but we have tons of Banjo Bowl stuff. We have Ted Wyman.
It's really as good of a 2-week period as the CFL will see outside of the playoffs. And I think this is the heart and soul of the CFL right now.
We have Britton Gray.
It's always fun when these two teams lock up because there is that rivalry. There's that almost hatred between the two clubs.
And then we have Adam Lascaris coming on. We're talking all about CFL Week 6.
I think this is actually, a super important year for the Argos just as a whole, just to see where their program will stand and sort of where their reputation will be at just amongst the league.
Paul, any other striking notes of anything we talked about today?
I love the bulletin board material. Why they call it the Banjo Bowl. We'll get into all that stuff. I mean, there might be some political correctness issues, but I think it's okay to call someone, banjo playing inbreds and then correct it and say, I'm sure that no one knows how to play the banjo in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Lots of stuff coming up. I'm really excited for the second repeat of this rivalry with Saskatchewan and the Blue Bombers, plus all the other stuff. And also just really curious to see how many points the BC Lions beat the Red Blacks by this week. We'll see you soon.
The MarkCast is available wherever you download podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google. It's all over the place. It's also on XFL News Hub and YouTube.
All right, my friends, we are back. What's up, chat room? Theodore says, the evening from the West Coast. What's up there? Says Lions number 3, woohoo. Hamilton all the way. Frank says, BC is hot. Yes, that is true. Might find over, Theodore says, might find over under with Bet Regal. Oh, I should check that. That's right, the official gambling partner of the CFL. Forgot about that one. The guys like the picks. Rich says he'll be at the Ticats game Friday. Nice. Very cool. Wish I was there too. Rich says Ticats D needs to step it up. We'll see. And Theodore says, Mark, Craig Dickerson is saying Cody Fajardo should start. That's what I was hearing too. Rich says, I see Chris Jones is coming back to the CFL with the Argos. Argos are going to be tough to beat in the East. We'll see. I mean, this whole thing with that not wanting to get the jab and not coming back, but then they're on leave. Like, bro, you're not coming back. And you just got your dream job coaching this high school football team. You're going to leave for, 10 games or something like that if you throw in playoffs. And then what? Are they going to keep you next year? Is this his way to get back in the CFL? We'll have to kind of find out there. Appreciate that chat room checking in. Let's see. We got anybody here hanging out with us on the Facebooks. Remember, we're on YouTube and Facebook live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. No comments there, but we got some likes. Appreciate that. All right, let's get into the social media stuff for the show as we come to a close. Fan cave contest. You want to win a fan cave from Timber Mart. Of course, I can't do it because I'm in the United States. But if you go to timbermart.ca/en/fan cave, you can win. Timber Mart and CFL are coming together to give you a chance to turn your basement, spare room, or garage into the ultimate football fan cave. One lucky CFL fan will win a fan cave prize pack worth $10,000. I don't know what the deal is with Canada, but in the United States, you have to pay taxes on that, my friends. $5,000 Timber Mart gift card to renovate your football man cave. Official CFL merchandise of your favorite team, a framed jersey, a flat screen TV. Post your photo in the comments section and provide your super fan for your chance to win. Oh, that's the rules and regulations, but it's all a thing going on Facebook. So just head over to Timber Mart on Facebook and see if you can win those prizes. I thought that was a cool thing that they're doing. On Dane Evans, out 4 to 6 weeks. Joel says, get well soon, Dave. Totally agree with you there, my friend. 4 to 6 weeks is a long time. And if Jeremiah Mazzoli does not, this is your chance, bro. And if you stink it up this whole time and you're not the elite quarterback that we think you are, you're done, and Dane Evans is going to be the guy. And we'll see Jordan Ta'amu or somebody else be the backup next year. And you'll be playing, maybe you could play for the Red Blacks. They might be looking for a quarterback. All right, on to more social media stuff. Harvey says, talking about the CFL ratings, he says CFL will get lost in the college football flood that now hits ESPN Plus. If you're unfamiliar with the app, it will have live events on the top, and you can scroll to the right and see what's off screen. Saturday, looking for Calgary at Edmonton. I had to search for the CFL because I scrolled for a good minute or more of college games without finding it. CFL started too late this season to get the exclusive football-starved audience. True, there was nothing they could do about it, but that is a good point. Yeah, I mean, they're just going to get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately, and the games have been great. The NFL games are great, and the CFL games are great. I mean, they're both football. Who cares? You like chocolate or you like vanilla? It's still ice cream, and you still like ice cream. Anybody who's like, oh, I'm not going to eat vanilla, I only eat chocolate. You're high maintenance. Just eat your dang ice cream. Who cares? Now, if it's strawberry or orange or some weird tasting flavor, yeah, then don't eat that ice cream. I get you there. If it's chocolate and vanilla, CFL or NFL, it's still fun to watch football. And it's football, it's fun to watch. Just take one of your flavors. They're just different flavors, but eat your dang ice cream, all right? Hockey fever. It all sounds like we are here. Go Bombers, here we go. But about the Bombers' defense proving to be quite a solid wall of Gibraltar. Andrew says, Rock of Gibraltar or Wall of China? There's no wall in Gibraltar. Okay, you're getting a little technical, but maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. Argos add Cole McDonald, subtract offensive tackle Terry Poole. Could there be a NFL quarterback or NFL wide receiver on the way? Chris says, is this a CFL site or Argos site? It's CFL. You know it. Argos are AFDOMG. Don't the Elks think they need help? If not, they certainly do. Cam. I'm surprised the Cam Phillips talk in the CFL did not really ramp up a lot. Clearly, he's not interested whatsoever, though. That would be kind of cool if he did. But the Stampeders beating the Elks in the Battle of Alberta rematch. Benjamin says, I turned it off at 25-16. What happened? It's not very good. Norm says the Elks beat themselves, period, penalties. And somebody says the Eskimos. Come on now. BC Lions signed former NFL QB Danny Etling. Chris said, and meanwhile, Marcel Desjardins remains silent. Get some GD players already. John says, what, no Canadians that can throw a ball? Thought this was the CFL. Harvey says, longest QB run in Pat's history. Interesting there. And about the Argos Ticats highlights, Tim says an ugly finish for Toronto. Glad to get the win, but we need to clean up some things. But congrats on winning record after 5 games. Keep it up, Boatman. There you have it with your Hamilton or Toronto Argonauts fans out there. Let's hit to the Twitter. We'll go with this flavor. About Cole McDonald. Twerked. Master Norm says adding more QB controversy to the Argos team. I don't think Cole McDonald's going to play or anything. I think you guys got your Arbuckle. But you want depth at quarterback, so there's nothing wrong with that. But Shaq Evans tweeted out, "Walking boot is gone. Knowing me, though, I got to calm down and not move too fast, but I'm feeling good only after a month. Work continues." Jay Keyser, 77, convenient that you recover after the Bombers back-to-back. I wouldn't want to play them either. Go blue, speedy recovery, though. Very nice of him. CFL at CFL_headlines. Always appreciate them promoting our stuff. About the Bombers defense. One CFL ATT, CFL attendances, says what they have been cornerstone of that team since 2019. What a front seven. The Bombers are just elite. Sea Devils outlast Panthers 30-27 and face the Galaxy in the first ever ELF championship game. United 74 says same championship game as the last one in 2007. There you go. And finally, Bob Irving says, tweeted this out, and somehow we got connected to all of this. He says, it's criminal how Sportsnet ignores the CFL. Having some games would change all that. Still, they should be embarrassed over how they go out of their way to ignore Canadian Football League. And Jamie Nye, and this is from CFL_news, says, speaking of opinions, how about we lose the TSN exclusivity on games? It's been a great partnership, but can we get a game on CTV? Dare I say, give Sportsnet a piece of the pie. Having one network do their best to ignore the CFL isn't good. That is so stupid. It is so dumb. And the fact that some people, and saying Ben Y. Amen, Ben Kramer says, man, I have got stories on how Sportsnet handles CFL opportunities and coverage. Let me say this about Sportsnet, especially Arash, who we will never on CFL News Hub cover anything this guy has got to say. It's a joke that anybody even talks to him. He works for Sportsnet. That doesn't even cover the CFL. You know nothing about the CFL because your channel doesn't cover it. Have fun with your stupid Blue Jays team. They playing in Toronto yet? No one cares about baseball. Oh, don't get me started on him. But yeah, it's really dumb that Sportsnet doesn't cover it. That's like, I don't know, NBC not covering the NFL. Well, they all have games now. But you know what I'm saying. CBS, they all have games. They all have NFL games. But they all these sports networks cover baseball. They cover, just because they don't have a game on it. It's dumb. I think they do push things more in the United States. But it's so funny because football is the king sport. No one really talks about basketball. You put on fantasy sports or talk shows. They're mostly talking about football all the time because that's just what moves the needle. It talks about the NFL all the time, I should say. On to the YouTube channels. Ryan, superfan, Ryan, says, horrible picks, LOL. I split, bro. I split. Superfan. Theodore, hanging out in the chats, hanging out here. I'm hoping the Argos bounce back to keep the playoff race close. Hamilton looks really good, though, and not when Dane Evans get hurt. That's for sure. He also says, don't worry about being near 50% in your picks, Mark. The league has always been somewhat unpredictable. It's not like the NFL that way. It's one of the reasons why I don't worry about single sports betting. It's too bad companies like BetRegal don't release information about how many people are betting on the games for the different leagues. It'd be interesting to see the trends as far as betting goes after NFL starts up. I hear rumors that the CFL is thinking of starting in May for 2022. We'll see what happens. I did hear something about that starting soon, or something about changing when they start. That was thrown out there something. Maybe it was on Rod Peterson's show. Holovis says, wow, I wish it started in May. Can't even give away my tickets once it's cold. Interesting. He says, he lives in Alberta. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, you want to have those games. That's why I don't understand why you want to have games in the winter. I understand. I mean, if I was the CFL, just throwing this out here, if I was the CFL, I would have, I mean, and I understand Canadian, I mean, we're looking at the ratings. The ratings are not that like crazy compared to, in the fall versus what they were in the summer. But I understand Labor Day is like a big thing. So have Labor Day kind of like toward like at the end of the season, that like big playoff where the games really matter kind of point of the season, rather than, I mean, I guess it kind of does. I don't know, but starting in May, I'm just saying with like, 3 games left in the season and play your championship game in October or something like that. We'll see. We'll see what they talk about. It'll be an interesting offseason in the CFL, that's for sure. All right, my friends. Well, thanks for everybody on the Facebooks for checking out. Remember, if you like the CFL, then give us a like. Spread the word about the CFL, because otherwise people aren't going to know about it. So if you like and share and subscribe, that helps the channel grow. And what is the whole purpose of this channel? Is to promote the CFL. That's it. Promote the CFL. That's the mission. That's what we do. Oh, Theodore says, Grey Cup for Labor Day. That's how I'm talking. I mean, but if you're getting a lot of people coming out for games for Labor Day, and you would already get a lot of people out for playoffs, but have it like the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the season where those games really count for something, but then they might not count. I don't know. We'll let the people that are in the higher pay grade than all of us figure that out. All right, so if you want to be part of the show, we would always love to hear from you. Email podcast at CFL News Hub with your MP3s or videos. Remember, you could subscribe to our podcast, Audible, Player FM, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and, of course, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review or subscribe to the channel. Win the CFL hoodie of your choice. We will announce that in October. That will be a good time there, my friends. So thanks for checking in. Thanks for Rich, Theodore. There was somebody else in here in the chats. Frank, checking in. Everybody else watching live and watching and recorded. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Enjoy Week 7 games. Enjoy the NFL as well. Remember, you can watch the NFL and CFL. They're both ice cream. Everybody likes ice cream. One's vanilla, one's chocolate. You like them both. It is definitely different flavors. That's for dang sure. From watching a CFL game to an NFL game, that was kind of getting my mind wrapped around that. But I appreciate for everybody checking in. That's it from me, folks. God bless out there. Stay safe, my friends, and I will see you all later.